Welcome back. So, a couple weeks ago, I did a Facebook poll about feuds that I would want to talk about, my next favorite wrestling feud. And the first winner was Punk versus Joe. I'm going to get to the other feuds later, but today we're going to just talk about Punk versus Joe. If you don't know who they are, let me explain, because a lot of people know who CM Punk is. A few less know who Samoa Joe is, but anybody who's ever been a fan of ROH knows who both men are. Little backstory for everyone who doesn't know. Well, actually, a little front story, and I'll work my way backwards. CM Punk, right now in WWE, he's red hot right now in WWE. Samoa Joe in TNA, where he is, doing well, doing good things. I'm hoping they utilize him more in the future. They really should. Joe's made to be champion. Joe is just born to be at the center stage. He really is. Him and CM Punk. And a lot of people who know CM Punk from WWE don't know him from his Ring of Honor days. A lot of people like I talk to, family and friends, who watch it and they don't like CM Punk. But see, me being an ROH nut, I have to love CM Punk, and that is in no small way due to the classic Samoa Joe vs. CM Punk series. Available right now on ROHWrestling.com. Okay, I don't work for them, but that's my plug. If I could work for ROH, it'd be sweet. Anyway, this is the DVD set that includes their trilogy of matches for the ROH World Title. And 2 hour... Did it 2 hour? Well, I don't know if it's 2 hour, but it's a shoot interview with the two of them. But the feud, let's talk about it. Samoa Joe came into Ring of Honor hired by Christopher Daniels to be an assassin for the Prophecy, to take out Loki. It was supposed to be a one-show deal from what I remember correctly, but the fans gravitated to him, so the Ring of Honor kept him around. CM Punk was known for all his matches in the Midwest, and he was actually called at the time the best in the Midwest. For his matches like with IWA Mid-South. And a lot of the matches attributed to his feuds with like Colt Cabana and Chris Hero. Yeah. So, time passes. Samoa Joe wins the ROH title, which wasn't the world title yet. He wins the ROH title from Xavier, who's to make him only the third champion in the promotion. Loki was first, Xavier second, then Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe held that belt and defended it in England, which turned the ROH title into a world title belt. So effectively, Joe made it a world championship. CM Punk at the time, when he came to Ring of Honor, he was, he had his feud with Raven, which I think really put him on the map. And then he was known for his tag team wrestling with Colt Cabana and the Second City Saints. Now, I mentioned before how Joe was in the Prophecy, but he eventually broke away from them and joined Steve Corino in the group, and he, broke away from them too. I think the group broke up or whatever. But eventually, it came down to CM Punk becoming the #1 contender for the ROH World Title. In Ring of Honor, their World Title belts typically have a 1 hour time limit on their matches. And Samoa Joe, being the dominant force he was, while he had many challengers who many would say came close to taking that belt from him, Jay Briscoe, just name one, Homicide, and Paul London, to just name a couple. No one had ever been able to go that hour time limit with Samoa Joe. Enter CM Punk. Now, this is at the time when a lot of Ring of Honor shows were were pretty much the equivalent of WWE house shows, but they were main shows for them. Technically, they were the only shows for them. So, Joe and Punk met in the ring, one-on-one. I think it was really good, the first time. And they wrestled the entire hour time limit. Not an Iron Man match, like WWE does, and that kind of thing. Not an Iron Man. It was just they wrestled for a solid hour. And the match went its time. They couldn't give them any more time. They stopped the match. And no one could believe it. First of all, Surviving Samoa Joe is no small order. If you've ever seen this guy, Samoa Joe is a beast in that ring. He's like one of the guys I've always said is just one of the all-time best. And sometimes I just really dislike TNA for how they don't use him more. I'm a Samoa Joe mark too. I mean, I'm a mark for a lot of people, so let's not even get into that list. CM Punk, he pretty much has always lived up to his moniker of being the best in the world. You know, he may, shoot his mouth off a lot, but the problem with CM Punk who shoot their mouth off a lot, they can back it up. That's the most annoying kind of guys, the guys who can back it up. So that was match 1. And it was their first in their trilogy. And I think Ring of Honor fans really didn't know what they were really getting into with these two. So they had a rematch. The show was called, the first show was eventually titled World Title Classic because of those two. You can't get much higher in honor than that, right? The next show where they met again was called Joe vs. Punk 2. Now you get a lot of pay-per-view names, a lot of show names for a lot of promotions. How many promotions can you name that name their shows after the two wrestlers wrestling? The show was called Joe vs. Punk 2 because everyone knew going in this was going to be another classic. It not only was another classic, it surpassed the previous one because it earned a 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer. It was like, I think, the first time he had rated a 5-star match as far as the United States, in wrestling in the United States, in like 7 years. 7 years. I think the last one was Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell, the very first one. And that was the last 5-star match he gave until that match. That's insane. Two almost virtual unknowns in the mainstream wrestling world had a hour-long confrontation that just blew away, or like the expectations, that kind of thing of everyone else, because these two went another hour, another time limit draw, and just pretty much settling nothing. But at the same time, proving that you got two of the best in the world right here. They had one more match at an event called All-Star Extravaganza with no time limit. Ring of Honor said, no time limit, you guys go until you can't go no more. And you keep going. You keep fighting. Joe finally won. Finally got the decisive victory. A lot of people were shocked that it didn't go the whole hour. But it was like 45 minutes or something like that. I think sometimes I think wrestling fans are just spoiled. We're just way too spoiled. We really are. We just, it's like, well, how come match they can go longer? That's kind of what we sound like sometimes, especially like when we're on the internet. Oh my God, we sound just like that. Reasons why I love this feud. Because right now, a lot of you watch this, you can easily name CM Punk. And even if you can easily name Samoa Joe. It's 2013, we're talking about these guys. Well, 2013, when I'm making this video, talking about these guys. I'm talking 9 years prior, 2004. Ring of Honor was basically just, it's basically pretty much a house show company. I'm not trying to down Ring of Honor, but, they weren't on TV. They weren't, being, broadcast on mainstream. They're surviving through word of mouth, DVD sales, and people up in the northeast of the company that were just going to every single show. And, videos on the internet. And fans like myself who would follow them any way they could. That's how they were surviving. And they have a world title. And they put it on the guy who originally was supposed to be there for one show, and they're having another guy go up against him who they, brought in from the Midwest. These two guys who are virtually unknown on the mainstream circuit are all of a sudden these world-class athletes, rightfully where they should be, and fighting for this belt like it's the most prestigious one in wrestling, rightfully as it should be. Because my feeling about any world title is this: you gotta fight for that thing like it's the belt that's like it's the only belt you're gonna have. I don't care what company you're with, because I don't care who you are, and I don't care how many fans dislike you. If you have the words champion in your resume, especially world champion in your resume, no one's ever gonna take that from you. A lot of people say what they want to say about guys who win the world title in every company. You know, they can call Austin Aries the TNA transitional world champion. They can call Jay Briscoe that. They can call all these guys that. You know, people can have their opinion all they want. Here's the difference. For that transitional period, the company said, "Oh, that guy can hold the belt. Oh, that guy can hold the belt. That guy can hold the belt." You can like it or not like it. I think everyone who's been world champion has earned it in some way. Maybe not the most popular ones have earned it. Maybe not the most deserving ones have earned it. And some guys, you know, and some champions have said that, you know, I'm not the most deserving guy to have this belt, but they've got it. What you gonna do? Not your company. So, but anyway, going back to my original point. Joe and Punk are two who are just the best. They're one of the reasons Ring of Honor is like still solidly on the map, because those guys and guys like them who are like the founding fathers of ROH, like guys like Daniel Bryan now, but Bryan Danielson at the time, Low Key, Christopher Daniels, Homicide, even the Briscoes, who were like the founding staples of ROH, put it all on the map. And they kept putting it on the map. They did everything they could to put it on the map. And I respect for him for that. Joe versus Punk, that whole series, I think, showed the whole world that Ring of Honor is not just some independent company, it's a world-class company. Because they're going to give you world-class matches. Let alone the fact that even prior to that, they were bringing in stars from all over the world. But, because, even Eddie Guerrero was on their very first show. And on their third show, when he had already been Intercontinental Champion with ROH, brought the Intercontinental title to the main event in a tag team match at an ROH show. So this was ROH further cementing their legacy. Started from the bottom, now they're here. Nothing wrong with that. So to Samoa Joe and CM Punk, I will always salute you both. Everyone, that was just my opinion on my favorite wrestling feud, Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. What are your thoughts? Leave me a comment or video message below. As always, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you. God bless you all. Peace.